promotion, a job, or a raise. We don't have to play that game. We don't run after money or fame or power. That's all behind us. We can now speak the truth from our hearts. If that offends people, that's their problem, not ours. We are at an absolutely critical moment in the history of life on this planet. We, human beings, have become a powerful force of nature, and we are now the main factor that is changing the properties of the planet on a geological scale. We are now the most numerous mammal on Earth. There are more of us than any species of rat or rabbit or mouse, and just the fact of our existence means it takes a lot of air, water, and land just to keep us alive. So we have a huge ecological footprint. But we're not like rabbits or rats or mice. We have an enormous amount of technology used on our behalf to extract resources virtually anywhere on the planet. And that amplifies our ecological impact. And then we love to shop. We love consumption. My mom and dad came through the Great Depression, and because of that experience, they taught us you have to work hard for money to buy the things you need. Not the things you want, the things you need. You don't run after money as if having more stuff or bigger cars makes you a better, more important person. But we're way past running after our needs. We now run after our wants. And there's no end to what we want. And all of what we want comes out of Mother Earth and goes back into it when we're finished with it. And that amplifies, again, our ecological footprint. And we have a global economy that exploits the entire planet as a source of raw materials for its activities. And when you add that all together, our numbers, our technology, our consumption, and our global economy, we have become a force as has never existed on this planet. That's why scientists today refer to this as the Anthropocene epoch, the moment in geological time when human beings have become the dominant factor altering the physical, chemical, and biological properties of the Earth. But in the process, we are undermining the very things that keep us alive. How did we get to this point? My grandparents emigrated from Japan to Canada between 1902 and 1906. They were uneducated, they were unbelievably poor, they heard Canada offered opportunity. They knew that this was a country built on the racism, built on the backs of colonization of the indigenous people. Asians in the early 1900s, like black people, couldn't vote, couldn't buy property, couldn't go into many professions. This was a racist country, but they believed that they worked hard. They could buy land. To my grandparents, land was a critical thing. If there was anything on it, fish, trees, minerals, topsoil, exploit it, sell it, and make money. My mother and father were born and raised in Vancouver. Dad in 1909, my mother in 1911. And like all of the children of new immigrants at that time, not just in Canada, but in Africa and Australia and South America, everywhere, they had no grandparents or elders. Can you imagine? The first generation of children born in this country had no elders and no grandparents. They were all back in the old country. So they grew up with no roots in this country at all. And to them, they acquired the values of their parents, my grandparents. Work hard, make money, buy land. Land is your opportunity. And today, all over the world, we see a clash then. A clash that we're seeing played out here between those who have a sense of place, for many, like the First Nations, whose roots go back thousands of years, for whom there is nowhere else to go. This is their sacred home. A clash between that mindset and the mindset of the newcomers over the last 500 years, for whom that land is simply opportunity or a resource. And we forget the children's story about the goose that laid the golden egg. You remember the guy that owned the goose? Every day he got a golden egg. But he got greedy. He wanted all the eggs at once. So he killed the goose. And when he did so, he found out it was just a goose. And inside there were no golden eggs. The goose for us is this beautiful valley, is the river, is the forest. That's our goose. But in the process of wanting everything now, we clear cut our forests, we dam our rivers, we drill and we frack, all to try to get those golden eggs immediately. I was galvanized in 1962 when I read a book by a woman named Rachel Carson. The book was called Silent Spring, all about the unexpected effects of pesticides. When her book came out, there wasn't a single department of the environment anywhere on the planet. The word environment didn't mean in 1962 what it has come to mean today. But because of her book, departments of the environment were set up at all levels of government around the world. Federal, provincial, municipal levels. We got laws passed to protect air, water, endangered species, and millions of hectares of land were set aside in reserves and parks. That was the huge result of the environmental movement that came about because of Rachel Carson's book. But when we won many of what we thought were victories. When was it, Adrian? You said that I came here at your invitation. 1981. I came here at the invitation of Adrian Peacock because you folks were fighting to stop a dam at Site C. And we thought we won it. We stopped that dam. The Americans wanted to bring super tankers with oil from the North Slope down to Seattle to refine it. David Anderson was the head of the Liberal Party in BC at that time when a Liberal Party meant a Liberal Party, not a Conservative Party. And he stopped those tankers coming along the BC coast. There were proposals to drill for oil in Hecate Strait, and we stopped that. Over and over again, environmentalists won victories, and 35 years later, guess what? We're fighting exactly the same battles all over again. What we thought were victories were not victories at all, because we fundamentally failed. We failed to shift the way we see our place on the planet. We didn't learn what First Nations people are trying to tell us in their opposition to the Enbridge pipeline. We haven't got the shift in the paradigm. And so 40 years later, we're fighting battles again.